welcome back to my channel. My name is Jennifer. If you are new here, I am 46 years old and have been doing WW since September 2019, and I'm down about 70 to 72 pounds. You know, my weight fluctuates a little bit here and there, but on Sundays my husband and I like to do these meal preps. We meal prep all of our food for the whole week on Sunday, and basically we just pick 2 meals, we make 6 servings of each, and we alternate those Sunday night through Friday night. Saturday is my treat day, and so we usually always got to eat on Saturday nights. But anyway, if that is something that you're interested in, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads. And also follow me over on Instagram. I'll leave my Instagram handle for you here as well. Also, I have a Facebook group, and this is what the icon of that Facebook group looks like, and there is a direct link to that group down in the description box below. Okay, so for our 2 meals today, we are going to make Weight Watchers Tuscan Chicken Pasta, and this is from My Crazy Good Life, so I will have the direct link to this recipe linked down in the description box below. I'm also going to make my Mexican meatloaf, which is a Weight Watchers recipe. It is in the Weight Watchers app. I have modified that recipe because I just use 99% lean ground turkey in mine, and I've always used a full box, that Jiffy mix in there, and then somebody pointed out that the recipe only called for 2 ounces, which I never even realized that and was counting it for like 2 points. If you use the full box, I think it ends up to be 7 points for 2 muffins, which is the way that I make mine into 12 muffins. But that's the way that I'm going to do it because that's the way that I've done it for years and I've never had an issue. And honestly, after trying it with just cornmeal and other things, it's just not as good. So, in my opinion, I think that it is best with that full box of Jiffy mix. So that's what we will be doing today. And along with that, we will have some roasted sweet potatoes. I will have about 4 ounces that I measure out for my sweet potatoes. And then, of course, Charlie will get the rest. Well, he's already done all of this prep work back here behind me. So, the Tuscan chicken, I definitely need to get in the crock pot first because obviously it's going to take, and on this recipe they also have Instant Pot directions. That's actually the first directions, and then they have the slow cooker. So we are going to do it in the slow cooker. We do have to kind of brown the chicken and everything, but we're going to do it in my Ninja crock pot, which has a saute function. So that way I can just do it all in that one pot and then dump everything else in there and get it cooking. It says to cook on high for 2 to 3 hours or low for 45 hours. It's already a little bit after 12 o'clock, so we're just going to put it on high, and then it will probably be the last thing that I plate up later tonight. Along with this, I may make my 2 ingredient garlic rolls. I'm 100% sure that Charlie wants me to. I don't really know what the points are going to be because, of course, I am making some modifications. She calls for 12 ounces of whole wheat pasta. I'm going to use that red lentil pasta, which is a Barilla, and it's only 8.8 ounces or something like that. And then I don't know if I'm going to make any other modifications or not. I don't think so. It's chicken broth, sun-dried tomatoes, Italian seasoning, minced garlic, chicken breast, baby spinach, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. I've got all of that. So yeah, that's the only modification that I'm making. I need to plug this into my app. She says that it is 7 points on the blue plan. So if I make my 2 ingredient garlic rolls, which are really 3 ingredients since it has the garlic in it, that would add an additional 3 points. I'm not mad about that. So that could be just a 10-point meal, but I'm not sure mine could come out to 6 points or whatever. But, you know, to be honest, it sounds kind of comforting to have those garlic rolls with the pasta. I tried to think of another vegetable, which there is spinach and stuff in here, and obviously the sun-dried tomatoes. So we're not going to do another veggie with it. We will probably just make those garlic rolls. And then I am going to make probably my Snickerdoodle cookies. I haven't 100% made my mind up. I still have a few of my chocolate ones left. I don't know if they're still good or not. If they are, then I may freeze those. I mean, I just ate them the other night, not last night, but the night before, and they were still good. I don't know if it's too late to freeze them. That's what I should have done, was just kept out what I needed and froze the rest and then see how they keep. But I'm probably going to do the Snickerdoodle cookies today since I did chocolate last week. And then I picked up some chickpeas a couple of weeks ago because y'all know how mad I was over that Sam's Club hummus that ended up to be like 6 points for that little cup that I was counting as 2 or 3 points or whatever it was. And so I found 2 recipes to where the hummus comes out to 0 points. You're basically using the chickpeas and non-fat Greek yogurt and then just adding seasonings. So I've got one, I can't remember where it's from, and then I saw on Emily Bites that she has a taco spiced hummus. So basically it's got my favorite things in it: chili powder, ground cumin, salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, dried oregano. How can you go wrong with that? So I am thinking I might go ahead and get this made up today too. I mean, basically she just puts it all in the food processor and blends it until it's smooth. The other recipe that I pulled from somebody else said that they actually like to take their chickpeas and boil them on the stove for a few minutes first. I've never actually cooked or worked with chickpeas, so part of me is kind of leaning towards using that step, but using Emily Bites' recipe, I don't know. And they may be perfectly fine and blend perfectly fine without doing that. I need to look at that other one and see why she said that she boiled hers. But I mean, obviously you want it smooth. You don't want those skins to be in there. And hopefully my food processor works well. That's something that I've had for a long time, and something that I hardly ever use because it is a pain in the butt to dig it out, which Charlie's going to dig it out for me and put it all together and everything. But it's just one of those kitchen appliances that I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, to be honest. So anyway, that is the plan for today. So let's just roll right into the video. Okay guys, we are getting ready to start on our prep. I'm fixing to head to the shower, and this is what Charlie has to prep today. So we have sweet potatoes. He will peel these and dice these up. We will roast these in the oven with the cinnamon on them. They are delicious that way. Of course, I have my pineapple. Of course, Nico's up here to inspect everything and make sure that it's all good, per usual. And then we have our chicken breast. He will probably only use 4 of the chicken breast. Of course, he will go ahead and trim up the other 1 or 2. I can't tell how many's in there. I like to keep the chicken in the bag in the fridge until he uses it, which I will just be popping this right back in the refrigerator because he kind of saves that for last. That is for the Tuscan chicken, but it does have to be diced up into the little cubes as well. And then we have this cantaloupe, which is a little suspect. It's tiny for one thing, and it's hard as a rock. And so he does have to run to Publix. We did not go last night. We decided to wait and let him check this and see. But I have to have the sun-dried tomatoes to put the Tuscan chicken in the crock pot. So hopefully Charlie can check this and make the quick run to Publix and get the stuff that we need. But my main concern really is getting those sun-dried tomatoes so that I can get that crock pot meal going. And then, of course, I have 4 peppers and a tomato. It's kind of out of order here. Let's put it together. And then I have my little thing of blueberries that we will wash in the vinegar. And yeah, that's it. Does everything look good to you, Nico? You want some chicken? I love you. But anyway, we are going to get started prepping. I'm going to go get my shower and get ready. So we are going to roll into Charlie's prep now.
Don't want to say goodbye, yeah. Want your skin on my skin. Just one last time. If I can't have you, babe, I don't want nobody else in my life. So darling, please pull me closer. If this is the last time, make it count now, baby. Yeah, darling, please pull me closer. It's not over until it's over. I know we get it all, we got there. We try, side by side, but I get it. Sometimes
going to get started on the Tuscan chicken, the first thing we're going to do is spray our thing here, which this says to do it in a skillet, but since my Ninja has a saute function, we are just going to saute in here and then add everything else. So it says to add in your tomatoes, and so these are the sun-dried tomatoes that we are going to use. It also calls for half a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, so we're going to go ahead and add that in now. It calls for 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. I'm going to use this, which might use all that's in this jar. And it calls for 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper, so we're going to go ahead and just add that in as well. And then we're going to basically saute this just for like 30 seconds to a minute. You don't want to burn your garlic. Once it gets warmed up here, it's just now starting to get hot. And then we'll add everything else. Okay, now it says to go ahead and add in your diced chicken, which I have just seasoned this with salt and pepper. And we just want to cook this for a couple of minutes until it's brown. I'm probably going to add a little more salt and pepper to this other side. Basically, we're just going to cook that for 2 or 3 minutes until it's kind of browned. Okay, so I think that is browned enough. It's really just to help keep the chicken from like sticking together. So now we are going to add in everything except for the pasta. So the pasta will not go in until the last 30 minutes. So we're going to go in with 3/4 of a cup of fat-free cottage cheese. I'm just using this Kroger brand, which I have it measured out here. And then we're going to go in with 3/4 of a cup of this Chobani non-fat Greek yogurt. And then we need 2/3 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. So this is a 1/3 cup. So we're going to do 1, and then we're going to go ahead and measure out the other, which that might use just about all of the Parmesan cheese. It saves just a little bit. So we'll save that. Calls for 2 cups of baby spinach. So we're just going to put in 2 or 3 generous handfuls because it will wilt down to almost nothing. Plus, I won't use that for anything else, to be honest. Probably. I could put some on my sandwiches this week. We'll see. Just going to kind of stir it up a little bit. We're going to add the chicken broth in last, and then I'll really give it a good stir. I just don't want that garlic to burn. I guess I can switch it over to slow cooker now. So it also calls for either 1/4 of a cup of fresh basil or 1 teaspoon dried. So we are just going to use the dried basil because I did not get any fresh. Okay, we've got everything in except for the chicken broth, and we need 3 cups of that. My battery's going to die too, so this is 2 cups. We'll measure out 1 more cup. And so that gets everything. We are just going to mix it up and let it cook on high for at least 4 hours. During the last 30 minutes, then you add in your pasta. And I have that Barilla red lentil pasta. I'll show it to you. I'm going to get that stirred up. I think this is going to be nice and creamy. And it already smells delicious. That's always a good sign. Y'all know I like my seasonings. So this is the pasta that we are going to use. Her recipe calls for 12 ounces of whole wheat, but I'm just going to use this box of Barilla, which is only 8.8 ounces. So I am going to calculate and see how many points my recipe comes out to. This is really the only change that I'm making. Everything else is pretty much the same. So I will let y'all know how much the points are once we get back to this later. So for right now, I'm going to put the lid on and we're just going to let her cook. Okay guys, before we start on the Mexican meatloaf and stuff, I forgot I still have to throw together my fruit bowls. So we're going to do that real quick. I just have my regular pineapple, cantaloupe, and blueberries today. So let's get it done.
They keep on telling lies. That is how we stay alive. So you know that I don't mind about what is wrong and what is right. We keep moving in different rhythms. Still I know what you feel. We keep moving in different rhythms.
guys, here is my completed fruit bowls with the non-fat Greek yogurt. And here is the tomato that Charlie sliced for me earlier. That's for my sandwiches. And then, of course, my diced bell peppers that I use every week. So I'm going to throw this in the fridge. And then we are going to do the meatloaf, veggies, and roasted sweet potatoes and get those in the oven. Okay guys, I'm getting ready to start on the Mexican meatloaf, and this version comes out to 7 points per serving. That is for 2 muffins. I like to do 12 muffins, and then we will each get 2, but you're going to need a pound of lean ground turkey breast. It calls for 2 egg whites. I'm just going to use 2 eggs since eggs are 0 on the blue plan, but if you're on the green plan, you would definitely probably want to stick to the egg whites. This is what gives it the most points. The actual recipe in the app calls for 2 ounces of, I don't know what it calls for exactly, if it's corn muffin mix or what, but anyway, we've always used just this whole little box of this, and it's still really runny. You will see what I'm talking about. If you use just plain cornmeal, it is less points, and you do need to use less, but in my opinion, this tastes so much better, and we've been eating it this way for years, so it's worth it to me to spend the 7 points on it. I mean, this is going to end up being like an 11-point dinner for me with the sweet potatoes, but I mean, we've had this meal a million times, so I've tried it the other ways, don't like it as much, so I'm going back to what I like. You need a can of diced green chilies. You only need, I think, an 8 or 10 ounce can of red enchilada sauce. I tried to get a 10 ounce can yesterday at on my Kroger pickup, but they substituted this big can, so some of this will probably go to waste. I am just going to salt and pepper the turkey, of course, and then you need my favorites, chili powder and ground cumin, and that's pretty much it. So we are going to get started. We're going to mix it up and divide it into 12 muffins. And then I have the sweet potatoes that Charlie has already diced up over here. We just need to spray these with olive oil, Himalayan pink sea salt, and cinnamon. And then I have a pan ready for my California blend vegetables, and we will just put the Montreal steak seasoning on those. And my oven is preheating to 375, and then I'm going to cook all of these in there together at the same time, which makes this a great easy meal in my opinion, because really you just throw all this together, mix it up, and then scoop it into the muffin tins. So it's pretty simple. Okay, so we're going to get started on this Mexican meatloaf. I'm going to do my 2 eggs first. I just always prefer to put those in first, no matter what I'm cooking. Okay, so we have our 2 eggs in there, and then I'm just going to start adding everything else. Let me get my recipe pulled back up because I have to look at it. I can't remember this one off the top of my head. So we got 1 pound of extra lean ground turkey, and then I'm just going to go in with some salt and pepper. And then it calls for 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground cumin and 1/4 of a teaspoon of chili powder. So we're just going to eyeball it. And I'm sure I'm probably putting more than 1/4, but I like it spicy. Same thing with the ground cumin, which, by the way, I did pick up some big, or Charlie picked me up some big containers. This one's not even open, at Sam's Club the other day. So I can just do some refills. Then we need 1 can of the diced green chilies. I'm not draining it or anything. I'm just going to put the whole thing in there. And then I'm going to put the whole box of the Jiffy mix in there. Again, you can put, you could use Italian breadcrumbs in here. You could use plain cornmeal and probably save some points. It does call for a medium chopped onion, but we never put that in. And then you're basically supposed to put half of your enchilada sauce in here, and then you do the other half on top, like when it's almost through cooking. So I'm not going to use half of this huge can because this is really more than I need, but that's probably pretty good. And then we'll just pour the rest on top that we need, and then just discard what we don't use. And then you're just going to mix it up. And then I'm just going to use my cookie scoop to divide this out into the 12 muffins. And I'm just going to spray the muffin tin pretty generously because these do have a tendency to stick. And then we'll scoop it into 12 muffins. that is it. And then it says to put it in the oven for, so it says to cook for an hour, and then you take it out and top it with the remaining enchilada sauce. I think I'm going to put it in for like 50 minutes and then take it out and check it, because my oven cooks pretty hot, and then maybe cook it for 10 minutes because I have some extra enchilada sauce that I will pour over it and just give it a few extra minutes with that on there. So $3.75 for an hour is what the app says to cook it at. But before we put it in, we're going to get our sweet potatoes and our veggies ready. So we're going to just flip right over here. So here are the diced sweet potatoes, and these are so yummy, and I'm just going to cook them for like this full hour in the oven. You want to spray generously with some extra virgin olive oil spray. So that's what I'm going to do first. And then we're going to go in with a generous helping of cinnamon. And then we're going to do a generous helping of the Himalayan pink sea salt. We're going to stir it up and we're going to do it all again. That way everything's kind of coated. I've torn like 3 or 4 holes already in that aluminum foil. Charlie's going to be like, what the? It makes the pan harder to clean up. Otherwise, it's fine. But see, this is why I like to spray and do it twice, because once you kind of stir them and flip them over, they're really like dry looking and don't have anything on the other side. And I will stir these in like 30 minutes in the oven. We're going to go with some more cinnamon. And some more pink Himalayan sea salt, which this is just something that I picked up at Marshall's, so it has a tag on it. Okay, that looks pretty good, so that's ready to go in the oven as well. Now we just got to get our veggies ready. And so for the vegetables, I just have some aluminum foil in a pan. I am just going to lightly spray that with the olive oil spray. And then this is what I'm using, the Bird's Eye California blend. I've already used some of this bag. I don't know if I'll need all of it. I've been trying to use up a lot of veggies and stuff out of my freezer because they're getting, you know, like the ice built up on them. So I may just use it just to go ahead and use it all. And then to season these veggies, this is all that I'm going to put on there. This is the Montreal steak seasoning, which I know may sound a little weird, but if you try it, you will love it. I'm sure we love it. Whoops, I opened the wrong side. I need the one where it comes out a little bit heavier. This is pretty spicy. So if you don't like spicy, you might not like this. Or you might just want to go lightly on it. There we go. That's it. They're ready to go in the oven. So what I'm going to do is probably put this in the middle, and then I'm going to put my muffins, my meatloaf, and my sweet potatoes on the bottom. And then after 30 minutes, I'm going to take it out. I guess I could look at you whenever I'm saying this. After 30 minutes, I'm going to take it out and stir up the sweet potatoes, and then I probably will swap the racks and put the veggies on the bottom, and then put the meatloaf and the sweet potatoes in the middle, just to even out the cooking time on them. Because whenever you have so many things in the oven, it's not all going to cook evenly, if that makes sense. So I'm going to throw them in and set a timer for 30 minutes, then we'll stir it, and then I'm going to set another timer for 20 minutes. That's when I'm going to put the enchilada sauce on the muffins, and that's where I'll kind of pick back up and show y'all pouring that on. Okay guys, here are the muffins. I think that they are pretty much done. Now we need to top them with the rest of the enchilada sauce that we're going to, so I'm just going to set you here, because the last time I tried to hold the camera and do it, I dropped the enchilada sauce. I don't know if y'all remember that episode, but that was fun.
Warm hands, but there's something cold in the way you are. The things you said had me going good, but it left a scar. You invite me and then you turn me down. Get my hopes up and then you're gone. you never call me. And then I see you on the street, said your heart just skipped a
Okay,
beat.
so that's what we got. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. It is kind of overflowing a little bit, but it's all going to be okay. I know these are going to be delicious. We're going to put them back in for about 10 more minutes, and then they will be done. Okay, guys, we are going to go ahead and plate up the meatloaf. This is ready. I'm going to do Charlie's in the 3 blue containers and mine in the 3 pink, because I will weigh out my sweet potatoes, and then he will just get what's left over, because I'm just going to do 4 ounces in mine. But we are each going to get 2 of the meatloaf muffins.
How did we end up here in the corner, looking like enemies? We used to be the team people talk about, what a chemistry. I can see it in your eyes. You don't wanna talk anymore. I wanna get so numb, while we
And
enemies.
then here are the sweet potatoes. So I'm just going to take a scale so that I can weigh mine. There we go, 4 ounces. That's what 4 ounces of sweet potatoes looks like, so it's perfect.
No, you don't mind the way I stutter my words. You know exactly what it means and how it hurts. Oh, I can't believe you're here. Can't get any worse. No. I just wanna get.
Okay, so those are my 3 weighed out with 4 ounces each in them, and then I'm just going to eyeball Charlie's and divide the rest. I am really ripping up that aluminum foil too.
I find it so hard to breathe. Cause when you get too close, I lose my way and I freeze. I wish you knew.
Okay, so I had to swap out my memory card real quick, but we got the potatoes portioned out. Charlie has a ton of sweet potatoes because I just did the 4 ounces in mine, so he gets the extra. So let's see how the veggies turn out.
Just get me out of here. Just get me out of. How can you be so calm around me when I act desperately? You used to be the one getting crazy when I'd be hard to reach. I can see it in your eyes. You don't wanna talk anymore. I wanna get so numb while we end.
All right, here is the completed Mexican meatloaf with the sweet potatoes and the roasted veggies. Y'all, this is such a filling, hearty meal. The meatloaf comes out to 7 points, and then I did 4 ounces of sweet potatoes, so I would count that as 4 points. So this will be an 11-point meal for me. The veggies are 0, but it is definitely worth it, and I know these are delicious. Again, you can make these lower in points if you didn't use the Jiffy mix, if you use breadcrumbs, or if you use cornmeal or something like that. I've tried it with cornmeal a couple of different ways and didn't necessarily like it as much as I like it with the Jiffy mix. So that's what we've always done for years, literally years, and that's why we like the flavor the way it is this way. So that's what we are going to stick with. But anyway, highly recommend. Super delicious. Charlie will never be able to finish all of his food. You watch. He'll have to throw half of it away every night. Not half of it, but a little bit of it. We'll see. Looking good. Okay, so we are going to make this taco spiced hummus from Emily Bites today, which I'm super excited about. It calls for several seasonings. I don't know if you can see that, but I have went ahead and mixed everything up into this little bowl just to save time. So there is 2 teaspoons of chili powder in here, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 of a teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 of a teaspoon of onion powder, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of dried oregano. So I have all of that all mixed up in here so that it would be easy to blend together. Her recipe is real simple. It's 1 can of chickpeas drained and rinsed, which I have those sitting here. They have been rinsed. They are just sitting there waiting to go in the bowl. And then 2/3 of a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt, and it literally says to place it all in the food processor. So I have my food processor out, which I never really like to use this thing. I'm going to be honest, this is my least favorite appliance for some reason, but we're going to go with it. So we are going to go in with our chickpeas first. And actually, hang on, let me put you on the tripod camera. Okay, so we have our can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans, whatever you want to call them. I looked at the other recipe, and that other one was from the Pointed Plate maybe, and they cooked theirs for 15 minutes. But you know what? This seems a lot easier, so I'm just going to try it this way first and see how I like it. If I feel like it's not smooth enough or something, then maybe next time I will boil them for 15 minutes. But for right now, we are just going to do the Emily Bites version, which is add it all to a food processor and blend. So I have, it calls for 2/3 of a cup, so I have 1/3 of a cup of yogurt measured out here, and then we'll do another one as well. And then I have all of my seasonings. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle those around. And then we are going to put this on. And we are going to blend and see. Let's see, it says to process for 2 to 5 minutes until smooth. And we may have to stop it halfway, you know, take a spatula and wipe it down. And so let's just see how this turns out. So it's been going for a couple of minutes. We're gonna wipe it down and check it out and see how it tastes. Hey, that's pretty good. It tastes spicy. Tastes like hummus. I gotta give it to Emily Bites on this one. I think it's good. I'm gonna blend it for another minute or two just to make sure that it's nice and smooth, but it seems smooth so far. Sam's Club can suck it with their 6-point hummus. Alright, I think it's done. Let's see here. Charlie put it together for me. Let's see if I can figure out how to get this off. There we go. We got it. Look at that, y'all. I made hummus for the first time. Who would have ever thunk? I don't want to waste it. I'm going to see if I can scrape it off the little blades here. We'll have to see what Charlie thinks. He took my car to get it washed. He'll be back in a minute. He's been eating my Sam's Club hummus, which I know he doesn't care what points or calories or fat or is in anything. Look at that, y'all. My own hummus. I'm so super excited. I'm gonna have to try it. I'm gonna get some of my crackers. Y'all know I don't like to eat on camera, but we're gonna eat a little bit of hummus. Okay, so these are the crackers that I like to use. This Crunch Master and the Tuscan Peasant. Even the plain ones are good, but you can have 13 of these for 4 points. So that's why I was so upset that week that I was eating those hummus cups, thinking that I was eating 6 points for lunch with my 0-point turkey burgers, and in actuality I was eating 10 points for lunch. Lesson learned. But now we have some 0-point hummus. I am just going to dip it right in there just to try one for you. I think it's delicious. It's got all of my favorite seasonings in it. It's nice and spicy. It pairs well with that cracker. It would pair well with a plain cracker too. And probably with like carrots or celery or whatever you wanted to use to dip the hummus in. I do have some baby carrots in there. I don't know if they're still good or not. I bought them that week that I had that hummus. So they've been sitting in there the whole time. So we'll see if they're still any good or not. But I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator, and then when Charlie gets back, we'll get his reaction and see what he thinks about my hummus. Okay guys, Charlie is back. So he's going to try my hummus to see what he thinks. Get you a cracker. He doesn't trust me, y'all. Can y'all believe this? I slave away all day in the kitchen, and he's scared to eat it. I think it's good.
Pretty good.
A little spicy. You like it?
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I think it's delicious, especially for 0 points. Like I said earlier, Sam's Club hummus can suck it. So this is better. Okay guys, we are going to make our 2-ingredient garlic rolls, which really actually is like 4 ingredients because I do add garlic powder and garlic salt to the top of it. But y'all get the idea. It's the yogurt and the self-rising flour, and then you can always add whatever seasonings you want to in it. You could add Italian seasonings, oregano if you really wanted something like that. But we love the garlic rolls. So let's mix these up real quick and try to get them rolled out so they will be ready to go in the oven. So for my recipe, I like to use 1.5 cups of self-rising flour and then 1 cup of the non-fat Greek yogurt. And then I'll do 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. So we need 1.5 cups of this, which this is 1/3 of a cup measuring cup, so I'm going to do 3 of these. And then I already have my Greek yogurt measured out. I have a cup of it measured. I'm running out of measuring cups today, y'all. Okay, so that's my 1.5 cups of flour. I do store this in the freezer. That's why I keep it in the Ziploc bag so it doesn't spill everywhere. So that will go back in the freezer. And then I have my 1 cup of yogurt. I'm going to just put this in here, and then we're just going to mix it up until it's kind of crumbly, and then we're going to go in with our hands. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I always add the garlic powder in and mix it with the flour. See, I wasn't even thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my garlic powder too so that it will just all mix. What I normally do is put the flour in the garlic powder and mix it well, but I forgot. And we are going to do 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. Okay, so that's probably about as good as I can do with the spoon. We're going to go in with our hands. And we're just going to make it into like a big dough ball, basically.
Cutting the power lines, we're done talking about it. A spark turns into fire, and we're not sorry.
Okay, so I think that's pretty good on the dough ball. We are going to put it on the scale now. We're going to divide the number of grams by 18 to see how many grams each one of our rolls needs to be, because that's how many rolls I want, is 18 of them. So we have 457 grams today. So that's going to give us 25 grams per roll. So that's what we're going to go with. And my trick is to use butter spray on our hands. That way it helps it from sticking so much. And I have my little sheet pan here. And we're going to go ahead and spray it with butter. I'm going to tear that out to where it's 0, because I will literally just pull off until it's negative 25 grams. And then I'm going to put some butter on my hands. And let's roll them out. And that one's a perfect 25 grams right there. So these do come out to 1 point per roll. And they're not huge, but you know, I could make them bigger and make fewer of them, but it's nice to get 3 little rolls.
If you're not sleeping tight, you know we're onto something. You hear the streets are crying, ocean turns into fighting. Take it to the streets, hit, control of the wheel. Take it to the streets. Hit, control of the wheel. Warning's been spread wide. You can't do none to stop it. Posing is bona fides, but you're only causing.
Okay, so we have our 18 rolls rolled out. Now we are just going to spray them with the butter spray. And then we're going to top them generously with the garlic salt. And then they're going to go in the oven for 12 minutes, I think 350. And then I'm going to put them on the top rack and put them on broil just for a minute or 2 to brown the tops. Okay guys, I just pulled the garlic rolls out of the oven. They are perfectly done. I just cooked them for 12 minutes at 350 and then popped them up on the top rack on broil for just a minute or two. I almost forgot about them, and then the pan kind of popped and I was like, oh crap, I better get these. But they were perfect. So anyway, those look delicious. Now let's make some cookies, and then all I have to do is my breakfast. Alright guys, we are going to make these Snickerdoodle cookies just like I did it the last time. I have my recipe pulled up here on my phone, the one that I typed up. So let's get it done real quick. And also Charlie is going to plate up the Tuscan chicken for me because I think that it is done while I'm doing this, and then I still have to do my breakfast. So I'll show you the plated up Tuscan chicken once he gets that done. So for this, we are going to use 2 different protein powders. I'm going to use the Snickerdoodle PE Science Select. You could probably just use this one and use 2 scoops of it, but I'm just going to use a scoop of the Snickerdoodle and a scoop of the vanilla. I thought they turned out really good the last time, so I'm not going to make any changes to the recipe yet. So we're going to go in with 1 scoop of the Snickerdoodle and then 1 scoop of the vanilla. This is just the vegan version. You don't have to use the vegan version. In fact, you could use the Matrix vanilla. It is really good and sweet, which is what I may get the next time. We'll see. And then, let's see here. We need 2 tablespoons of coconut flour, which I don't know how old my coconut flour is, y'all. It definitely needs to be used up. And then we need 10 grams of the sugar-free Jell-O cheesecake pudding mix. So I have this box. I don't know if there's 10 grams left in this or not, but I did get some more in my grocery order yesterday. I can't even get this open. What's wrong with me? There, that was 11 grams, so that's good enough. Got rid of that one and didn't have to open the other one yet. And then we need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of the baking powder. I don't know if there's actually a tablespoon left in here. Right at it. That'll be good enough. We'll just finish that off too. Okay, and then you will need 1 ripe mashed banana, which I've already mashed my banana in this bowl, so I'm going to add that in. And then we're going to do, I think this is half a cup of applesauce, just one of these little cups of applesauce, unsweetened applesauce. And then I'm going to kind of slowly add in the egg whites until I get it to the consistency that I want. The last time I had to use about, I think, 160 grams or so. We'll see. So over here if you want to. So that was 78 grams. That's still way too dry. So we're going to go in with some more. That's going to put it up to about 130 grams total. We'll see how that does. But I think adding the coconut flour in makes it a little drier. But I did like the consistency of these cookies the last time, so. And the points are good. It's 1 point for 1 to 2 cookies and 2 points for 3 or 4 cookies. So that's going to put us at like 169 grams of egg whites. We'll see if that's enough. Now it's feeling a lot creamier like I'm looking for. We'll just do just another little splash. Just for good measure, but I think we're good now. And then we're going to add in 1 serving of the Lily's Butterscotch Sugar-Free Baking Chips. Right here. These are so good. And that's all there is to it. We're going to skip them out into 12 cookies. Let me clean up and grab my baking sheet. Alright, I'm going to use my new pretty rose gold baking sheet, which I love. I'm just going to spray it with this Pam baking spray. And we're going to divide it into 12 cookies. I'm just going to use a cookie scoop, and then we can just add to it if we need to. Okay, these are going to go in the oven for like 7 to 10 minutes. I think I did them for 9 minutes the last time. I'm not 100% sure, but we're just going to check it after about 7 or 8 minutes just to see. It is a little bit of thicker consistency than the chocolate. Okay guys, here are my Snickerdoodle cookies, fresh out of the oven. They are looking good. I left them in for 10 minutes. I put them in for like 7 or 8 minutes and they were not done, but they ended up staying a total of 10 minutes. And they still feel a little soft, but they were kind of puffed up. They're already starting to flatten down. So, looking good. Okay guys, we have finally completed this meal prep over here. I have my 7 containers of fruit and yogurt that I prepped earlier. And then we have the Mexican meatloaf. These are Charlie's. His are really piled high with a lot of sweet potatoes. Mine are the pink ones where I measured out the 4 ounces of sweet potatoes. This does end up to be an 11-point meal because the Mexican meatloaf is 7 points for a serving, and then 4 points for the potatoes is what I'm going to count that as. This is the Tuscan Chicken Pasta, which I hope that this turns out good. Charlie plated this up for us. I did not film plating that up because I was kind of like in a crunch and this was time to get out. So he plated these up for me and just divided them into the 6 equal portions, and they come out to 6 points each. And then along with that, we will have the garlic rolls, and these are 1 point for each roll. So we will have 3 each night. I make 18 of them. So that will end up to be, what, a 9-point dinner. And then I have my Snickerdoodle cookies, which are super delicious. They smell so good. You can just smell like the apple and the cinnamon and everything in them. Those, I highly recommend trying those if you like Snickerdoodle cookies. And then I have my breakfast for the week. I have my 10 strips of bacon and then my 5 things of scrambled eggs. So I will be ready to go this week. And yeah, that really completes it. Another successful meal prep. And guys, I completely forgot to get my hummus out and show it. So disappointed about that, but I've already put everything away. As you can see, it is all cleared off. And then I went back there to change clothes and I was like, ah, my hummus. But anyway, this is so good. I'm definitely going to eat this for snacks this week some. So we will see if I just take it to work along with my lunch or what I end up doing. But anyway, it is delicious and it is 0 points. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for another meal prep video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you try some of these recipes. Please leave me some comments down below on what you think about some of these recipes, if you've tried them before or whatever. Of course, I've made the Mexican meatloaf several times before. I've never made the Tuscan chicken, which Charlie plated this one up for us, and we will have the garlic rolls with that, and then I have my Snickerdoodle cookies and my eggs and bacon for breakfast this week, and then of course my fruit and yogurt bowls for my lunches. So overall, I think it was another successful meal prep, and as usual, if you haven't already, click that red subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads. And also follow me over on Instagram. I will leave my Instagram handle for you here as well. And then I have a great Facebook group. It is called Finding Our Way. This is the icon to it, and there is a direct link down in the description box to that Facebook group. And also down in the description box is going to be linked the recipe for the Tuscan chicken, the recipe for the hummus that I made from Emily Bites. I will have a link to those original recipes, and then I will have the Mexican meatloaf probably typed out, even though it is in the Weight Watchers app. I do make some modifications to it, but that is a true Weight Watchers recipe that you can look up, and then I'll have the instructions for the roasted sweet potatoes typed out as well, and the garlic rolls, and of course the cookies. So check the description box, all kinds of information down in there for you. Always check that. Usually lots of questions can be answered. I get a lot of questions also on like meal prep containers and stuff that I use. I do have some linked in my Amazon store that are similar to these green ones. Most of these I have picked up between like TJ Maxx, Marshalls. Occasionally I have ordered some online. These fruit bowls are Sistema. I picked all of those up at TJ Maxx or Marshalls, I think, but I do have some of those linked on Amazon as well if you cannot find those in your local store. And I know some Walmarts actually carry those as well, so check your Walmart. And I know Walmart carries a lot of meal prep containers that kind of look like these with the two dividers or whatever. And I've actually been meaning to go by there and see, because mine are pretty stained up. If you look at them real close, they're stained kind of orangey yellow just from all of the stuff that we have put in them over the past couple of years. But these are newer that I picked up, I think at maybe Tuesday morning or somewhere. But I like these because they have a wider slot, and then these are a little bit larger containers. But again, I don't really use a specific brand. I mean, other than the ones for the fruit, most of those are Sistema. I think these, there are two that's different, but anyway, I like the Sistema ones, to be honest, the ones with the lids that come off that are the two sides. But anyway, check the description box. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me for another video, and I will see you in the next one.
I see you in the back, the mood is right. If I just had your number, I would let you know how I feel.